Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Inside Movies Galore. I am your host, David Strege, and here in the room I have Jesus.
Hi, Dave. What episode is this today?
Well, today we're going to talk about 7 short films
Oh, goody.
from Cheevies Productions, and I hear you brought an old friend along.
Yeah, she's hanging out with us tonight.
Well, in any case, we're gonna talk about Derek Braasch's. Not exactly sure how to say his name, but he's the partner to Anthony Cooney, and he'd asked me earlier if I'd reviewed his feature film Murder by Pleasure, and I wanted to write up um, his earlier short films on up to what he's done presently. But when you asked, when I was talking to you earlier, you said, "Well, why don't we go on and talk about it? Just send me whatever." And I was like, "Okay, let's do this."
Yeah, because I think the first one you talked to me about was Lazy Werewolf, and I was thinking of that so funny because everybody knows you're called the Werewolf, Wolfman Dave, and I was like, you sorting your collection, and Lazy Werewolf's a good title there.
Well, we'll get to that in a moment. I was so the first film that we're going to talk about is I'm going to go from oldest to newest, at least in here, because in my written review, I will not be. I'll be actually skipping all over. So the first one is Tia's for Tentacles, and that was done in 2011, and it was originally sent into the ABC's Death Anthology, but it was rejected, and then it was re-picked up by, I believe, Tom Walsh's Words of Death film series, which put in together. So that's where that film has ended up. But it's on Vimeo for people to watch right now, at least until it's probably out to the general public or whatnot. So, but I'm going to describe it a little bit. So we have a girl reading a book, and all of a sudden, underneath her bed, there is an octopus that kind of rises its tentacles up from underneath, rapes the shit out of her, and then puts some cum-like substance into her mouth, and from what we can understand, her vagina area. So, what did you think about this film?
Well, when it starts off where it's, you've got a woman at home, right? Maybe it's a lonely night. Maybe, she's thinking about what could happen, and she's reading a book. And then what does it go to? It goes to some big sexy legs in the tub there, right? Got the candles going, right? Kind of romantic. Then she's got some hard nipples, right? Kind of turning you on. Maybe wanting to touch your penis and your ball sack there while you're watching it, right? And then she goes to bed. There's some oral sex there, some titty fucking, and it looked like a very juicy pussy. To me, it looked like she was enjoying the rape. And sometimes rapes don't always end on a good note. I think it was pretty cool, right? It was only 4 minutes, and it was cool.
Okay. So moving on to the second film on the list. Ultimately, it's called Hernandez, and this one was filmed in 2012, and it's about a guy who I don't know if you know these kind of places where you just go to a parking lot, you get picked up for whatever random job to be taken to, and you just go and work the day. Whether it be construction or work in the fields or something like that. Well, Hernandez is one of those men. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what you what you thought about Hernandez.
Well, Hernandez, that's the guy's name, right? He's a Hispanic worker. It's like a parking lot of a Home Depot or a Lowe's, where, there's a lot of Mexicans around. And what normally happens is just as you said, they go ahead and they hang out there hoping somebody wants to pick them up for a day labor. So, he wakes up, he starts his day. We follow him over there.
And it doesn't have to be Mexicans or anything like that. It can
no, but the thing is that's the big joke, right?
Yeah.
You show up there and somebody starts yelling La Migra, and that's for immigration, and then everybody fucking scatters. And then the white guys get all the jobs, or the black guys, right? But his name's Hernandez. He's Hispanic, and they kind of play off on that because they got a white guy there, kind of dressed like Hispanic, because he's got a big, thick mustache, which is obviously fake. So they were playing it as the Mexican guy there, Well, so it shows up. He wakes up, starts his day off, and somebody picks him up. Say, hey, I need some work done. You game? He's like, yeah, sure, I'll do some work. The guy starts asking him, if he's got any, if he's married, he's got any kids. When he gets to his apartment there, he sees, he takes him in. He sees like his heartbroken wife there, and she is, a little upset. What's going on? Come to find out,
she's more than upset because while all this is happening, while he's going to take all down all these pieces of furniture and these toys from. I believe that they had a son that had died or something like that.
Yeah, she discusses that in there how it took them less than a day to tear down their baby's room, or like you said, they had the son to get killed, and it took them months to plan it, right? So there's a little part in there it shows like at the when he's done cleaning up for the day, he has a little talk. He gives the wife there a hug, and he cuts open the box, because a lot of people carry knives around their ankles. And he cuts open the box and pulls out a little, stuffed animal and gives to her something maybe she could remember her child by. Okay. And then, then they go ahead and leave. The guy that picked him up looked like was looking to get some more stress relieved, right? Because while they're in the car, he, starts wanting to play sex games with this Hernandez fella. Okay. And Hernandez, he's like, hey, I'm not down with that, right? So what happens? He reaches down there and grabs the ankle knife, cuts him up, and takes off for the day. So I would say that was a full day's work. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. I guess that would be a full day's work, even though you had these emotional situations going on. Did you enjoy the film?
That's one that I wasn't that keen into. Actually, they brought out some emotions there for the 4 minutes, or I can't remember if that one was 4 minutes or 6 minutes. But they definitely touched on some emotions there. Okay. But I thought the ending was just a little bit weak to me.
Okay. I actually felt more in tune with the film because of the emotions behind it, and maybe that's just me. I mean, I know you're into clowns. But yeah, I mean, I saw a little bit of emotion, and the part where it said that this was one of the saddest things that he's ever had to do money for.
Yeah, they put that across the screen there in English because I think he mumbled it in Spanish.
Okay.
So they put his wording across the screen there in English for people that don't speak Spanish.
Gotcha.
Habla español.
Yo habla español.
Hola, ¿cómo está?
Alrighty. So ultimately, I mean, I enjoyed the film. I mean, if anyone who sounds this, either one of these two sounds like something that you would like to see, definitely check them out if you want. We're just going on and doing what we can to rough things up for these films. So let's see what's next. So why don't we go with Let's go with She's a Doll. Okay.
Okay. Well, that one there is so you see a woman sitting there. Come to find out, is this a doll? Is this a robot? Is this a sex toy? We don't really know how it starts because the man involved here, he dresses this woman, this doll, this sex toy. We don't know what it is. I was still a little confused at the beginning.
I was feeling like I was missing something. Like this was like a cut off segment of a larger film.
Well, I think to me that the ending was kind of, I think they were just trying to get, maybe in this one they were just trying to put an idea out there and then let our imaginations run with it.
Okay.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm not, I can't speak for them, but that's kind of what I got out of it.
Okay, so we have this man. Apparently, we don't know whether he's a husband or a wife. Or well, we know he's not a wife. Okay, but we don't know whether he's a husband or a boyfriend or a lover or anything like that. But we see him. Okay, I'm just gonna say it. We see two relatively fat people. Um, One is emotionless, and it's like he's dressing her up. He's giving her makeup, and he's walking her around. He goes to work. He comes back home, gives her some flowers, and he lays down. She looks down at him like. And then when
that's the first time she showed any emotion, right? Yeah. When he was laying across her lap. So that's when you started to think, so maybe this isn't just a doll, because the doll finally showed emotion when she looked down at him, because for the very first part of that, she never moved her face. She didn't breathe. She didn't move an eyelash.
Yeah. And how do you think she did, at least on that part? Do you think that she did that decently?
Yeah, I think she did that well. She just sat there still. I think she did pretty good. I mean, I don't know how long the shots were. A couple times it looked like maybe there was a breath or two, but I'm good with that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, the only thing that I noticed is when she was sitting there across from him when they were eating, I saw her chest rising and falling like she was breathing, but I didn't really mind. Because she's supposed to be a living, breathing doll, But ultimately, when he goes to sleep, she wakes up, and what she does is she goes and sniffs the flowers, and then she's over by the mirror, and she takes the makeup off, and that's when it's like it cut off. And I was missing something.
Well, she smoked a cigarette also, so I'm wondering if that like relieved her stress of acting like a doll for the day. You know what I mean?
And did you get the feeling like this was something that happens every day to her?
Yeah, I think so. Because then she washed the makeup off, and then probably the next day they would go through the process again. I don't know if that's supposed to be some type of healing they're doing, for something tragic that happened in their lives.
Not that I'm trying to make this dirty at all, but I wonder what would happen if he ejaculated on her, and what she would do.
I'm not sure, but she would probably make a face, especially if he shot it in the eyeball.
But in any case, not that I was trying to be disrespectful or anything like that, but I mean, you could take it dirty that way, if you really wanted to, or you could take it the polite way. What would she do every day as a doll, But ultimately, did you like this short film?
I would. That's a kind of a hard one too, because it seemed like it almost should have been a little bit longer. Maybe even if they just showed like the next day it started over again, I would be cool with that, and it ended, because it's just like never ending that way. And I'd be better off with that if they just showed like maybe the first scene again. So it just tells you it's like, it's kind of like how fucked up people's lives are. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And then, yeah, I think that would have been a little bit better. But I hadn't heard any background on this. I don't know if it was supposed to have some type of meaning, and I didn't necessarily catch it. I'm not sure.
Okay. I kind of felt the same way. Like it was like missing something, and maybe they could put like that beginning scene where he was just redressing her the next time or something like that, just to smooth things out or something to that effect. As far as his character, what did you think about his character?
I mean, it was just pretty basic, right? It showed like he obviously cared for her because he put makeup on her, dressed her, and it showed that he was loving, right? And it showed that he went about his day at work, showed him at the grocery store. He came home, he brought the flowers. Maybe he thought that the woman was having some type of mental issue, and the woman was just putting a show on for him, and she really wasn't having an issue. That's why they showed her at the end having that cigarette,
Okay.
because she's done for the day because the guy went to sleep, so she doesn't have to play the part anymore. You know what I'm saying? So it's like one of these shorts, like sometimes these shorts that are like this, they just make you think and think, because
Mm-hmm.
you're not sure what they were trying to accomplish, and
Yeah.
they could go many different ways.
Oh yeah. So moving on to another short film here. Uh, let's do Eyes of Deception. Now this was actually a 48-hour film project. Um, you know how those go. They're given 2 days to come up with a story. So I actually really liked this one for some reason. Maybe because it seems so real. But okay, so this man, he's working for uh, a company that uh, does pesticides and stuff like that. And so he's walking around this basement-looking structure, and he's always getting home late. So he gets home one of these nights, and his wife has pictures of him with this other lady. So he has to come up with like the excuses why. Well, his story is that this chick was a
Travel agent.
travel agent, and he was planning a trip to Italy for her. But in the same instance, while he's hugging her, you see these images of possibilities that her I think it was her friend who was
Yeah,
taking shots.
the fat lonely chick that didn't have a boyfriend's trying to home wreck for her friend that had a fucking man. You know what I mean? It's always some bullshit like that.
Yeah, and you got the man, and they make a suggestion in the images that he took the stuff further, that he actually kissed her. He made love to this chick. In fact, you saw them unclothed, and then afterwards you saw them clothed, and so on and so forth. So, but again, you're left with a camera shot to his eyes, uh, and that goes back to the title. So, what did you think of this story? Were you getting into it at all?
Yeah, it was all right too. I kind of like it's kind of funny, right? So he's playing around with this travel agent chick, and he shows his wife these tickets. So there's his excuse, right? Because she
Hmm.
was ready to walk out the door on him that day once her miserable friend was spying on the husband. And I say miserable because usually the people that are uh, you know having a shitty life themselves, they try to go ahead and make somebody else's life shitty. And I don't really care for those people like that. I don't know if you want to say they're like a narc or something, but that's bullshit. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, to be honest, I mean, if you're in a relationship, you should at least be able to go if something's happening and it's wrong. Regardless, you go and do something about it. You don't make your friends do it.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah, yeah. Luckily the friend wasn't following him to the bedroom. You know what I mean? Can't really talk that one off, right?
No, no.
So
But
yeah, I mean, it was kind of funny, right? Because he's like, oh no, look, I've got travel tickets. I mean, he was working on a special discount. Yeah, it was okay. Kind of little unbelievable. Parts of it could be believable, but to actually show the tickets and
well,
then,
to me, it could have gone either way.
well, it could have just been a brochure, also. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
he was just talking to her, but he did say he was, working on paying it down, and that is one way to pay it down, laying some pipe, working as a plumber on the side, right?
yeah. But in any case, moving on to let's see. So here we have the short film called The Lazy Werewolf. And this one was done in 2016. This one is filmed in black and white. Why don't you tell me a little bit about this film, since I kind of spoiled the other one?
Okay, well, the lazy werewolf, right? The title sounds kind of funny and amusing to me. And then I watch it, right? You got some guy walking around in a $2 mask, just munching down food, but he is wearing a varsity jacket. So I'm like, wow, are they working on Teen Werewolf here? Is this a parody to Teen Werewolf? And then you see him, he starts training like Rocky after looking at a Sylvester Stallone book. And, so it's basically a parody on Teen Werewolf with Michael J. Fox and Rocky with Stallone, right? Because they even go as far as him beating up some meat there in the meat factory, the butcher. And it was I liked it, right? It's got a little stupid mask on it. He's just walking around scaring people, right? He starts off with the family eating. He barges in, eats their dinner, shows them getting drunk at the bar. He scares, he scares people. Heads over to where? Mickey D's, right? All werewolves like Mickey D's. Steals some ice cream from a fat lady. I kind of wanted to see her cry. You know what I mean? He's eating some chips. I'm thinking he's gonna go for that full body change, right? Maybe they put in another actor that was kind of fit, like at the end of the Rocky part. But they stuck with the same guy, so I guess the film was a short. It was cool. I like that one.
Well, I don't know. I was kind of disappointed in it. I was expecting it to be a transformed, creature or whatnot, instead of pumping up the iron for.
Yeah, you're looking for the transformation at the end, right?
Yeah, I was looking for the transformation at the end, so I was kind of disappointed. But
I see that's the thing, right? Like sometimes the stupid stuff I like, right? Because walking around with that $1 or $2 mask of a werewolf, right? It wasn't even a full mask, it's just funny to me. Some of those things are just funny. Now maybe if it was like a full movie, I get bored with it. For being a short, though, yeah, it was funny.
It was a little funny, especially since you could tell it was a $2 mask.
Right. Yeah, they weren't trying to hide it. It is what it is.
and then he just went, ah.
Yeah.
I just couldn't get into that for some reason. Even though I know it was slightly funny,
Maybe you stole your part, man. That part was made for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it could have been made for me. But in any case, that one was done in 2016, and the werewolf was played by a guy called Mike Miller. So I don't know. Moving on to Killer Claws, which this one was actually done in 2016 as well. So apparently,
what a way to start off Christmas, right?
Right.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. To start off Christmas with a blowjob.
Yes, sir. You got the Christmas music playing in the background. I get it, man. It's great.
The old silent night, or whatever. And then of course it turns out to be one of the helpers, and then he gets kicked out or fired. I don't know why.
Man, they should have popped them big old titties out too. You know what I mean?
But ultimately, he goes into like a mood once he gets home, and just kind of cracks and goes off and starts killing people.
Yeah, I think he even mentioned that you know, it's in the Bible. Santa can't get fired, right? They fired Santa.
They can't fire Santa, so he takes his reindeer and his canes, and he goes off in search of Grandma.
Yeah, I mean, basically, he delivered a different type of Christmas spirit, you know?
Yeah.
Santa delivers the Christmas axe, you know, the Christmas smother, the Christmas coat, you know, with the tinsel and the lights, lighting threads, right?
Yeah.
Death by the candy cane.
Yeah, that was the lady.
He's got the bag of beatings instead of the bag of toys. You know what I mean? And then what happens? We got another fictitious character that shows up in the end.
Exactly. I mean, and you gotta think. You don't when you're a specific person like Santa Claus, you got to figure out if you're gonna crack, if you're gonna have that day where you're gonna snap. You know, you got to think about who else hates your guts.
I mean, hey, that Easter Bunny's like Harley Quinn, man. She's in Justice League. The Easter Bunny stole the show.
Oh, so Buddy Man just couldn't stay away. Anyways, or what? Or was it Ralphie all grown up?
I don't, you know, I'm not sure who Ralphie is.
Ralphie from A Christmas Story.
Oh, was it? I don't know. I haven't seen those. I'm not a pedophile, so I don't watch shit like that.
Well, Ralphie from A Christmas Story, one of his Christmas presents was given a one-piece bunny.
Yeah, I remember. They play that 24-hour stop on TNT or some shit every year.
And that is like the best, one of the best parts, because he's like, Mom, no, I'm not going to put it on. Ralphie!
Look at your brother. He's got his on.
Or whatever. But
yeah, I actually really like that, man. You know, that you could see the guy was like in the Christmas spirit. He had the true Christmas spirit, whatever that is, right? So, you know, he had his house decorated up, had the lights in his house, everything. You know, I still just wish they would have popped those big old titties out, you know, on the chick giving him the blowjob. You know what I mean? Because those were some swingers there.
Yeah, but you know, they kind of have to keep it clean. And, you know, it's independent. You never know how raunchy people might want to see.
Yeah, I know. I sometimes like that though. You know what I mean?
Oh, the more raunchy.
Yeah, let that stuff come out sometimes.
So you think this should have just snapped full circle? If they were going to go crazy, they might as well go extreme.
Yeah, that fictitious character, man. I like that one. That one was pretty good to me. I put that one up there towards the top of those. There's that, and we got another one we're gonna discuss. The Clown Dies. I've got those two as the top two.
I would have to say the same. Going into the Clown Dies at midnight. That one's from 2017. That one's relatively newer. So we're talking about a relatively new film, a short film here about. So apparently there's a kid who has a birthday party and no one shows up. So his mom and dad end up hiring a clown, and he's a drunk, you know. But he gives him one piece of advice in a joke, and it's don't lose his marbles. So that kind of holds the rest of the story. Well, the kid grows up, and what happens, Jesus?
Well, I mean, you kind of got to reflect on that birthday party, right? You know, the kid's set up for failure on his own. So you go ahead and rent a clown for a birthday party.
Yeah.
Basically, you're running a babysitter, right? Is that what you said there?
Yeah, that's what he said.
Yeah. So we got the birthday. Wait, he got one hell of a gift though from that clown. Those marbles.
Yeah.
And, it happened to be the name of the guy there, the clown.
Yeah.
Did. And they come in. He said, make sure you always keep these with you. They'll come in handy someday, and they definitely did.
Well, ultimately,
I kind of like the worm too. I've never seen a clown show a kid a worm balloon. You know what I mean? Because he's so drunk and smoked so many cigarettes he couldn't blow up the balloon, so he called it a worm.
But in any case, so the kid grows up, and what he ends up doing is he ends up being like obsessively into uh, calling bets or putting bets on things. But he did a smart thing. He actually bet 5 large or on one, and then 2 large on another, or something like that. You know,
I wouldn't call that smart, man. He lost both bets.
yeah, but at least he got one party to shoot out the other.
That's just some clown luck, right?
I mean, uh, what are the odds of that? That 2 mob bosses end up at the same clown's house
Yeah,
to play him a bet, you know?
yeah, clown luck. That's for sure. You know, but
but I like this humor.
Did you touch on the part where you know he the clown pulled out condoms and a bunch of pills and shit? You know, at the little kid's party with the 10-year-old or 12-year-old.
I saw that, and it was like, oh, that's for another party.
You know, yeah, like they had some cool jokes in there. Like the clown was saying, like, you know, kids suck, but the single mothers of the kids also suck, right? They like the.
I don't know what it is about that.
They like the kid. They like the guy in uniform. You know, he's wearing his fucking clown suit, right? And they got, yeah. And then when the mob guys show up, you know, he's got his clown face on, and he's sitting there jerking one off and shit. He's hoping they let him finish before they cap his ass. And I guess, you know, obviously we talked about 2 guys showed up. They were going to beat him with some billy clubs, or actually it was a hammer that gave the guy a chance to break his own hand. And, you know, we're never going to really hurt ourselves as bad as somebody else is going to hurt us unless you're just fucked up mentally in the head. So he touched his hand and said, oh, it's damaged for life, you know. And then here comes the other mob guy comes in, and they're like, hey, he's got a bad bet with us. He's like, well, there's 2 of us. And he's like, yeah, but I've got 2 of these. He pulls out 2 guns, and he's like Judge Dredd or, you know, Clint Eastwood, bam, dead shot, right from Suicide Squad, right in the head, knocks them both out. And, you know, there's a bunch of people across town that have gambling debts, so they've got to deal with the guy at the funeral home. They get free caskets.
The guy at the funeral home, that we do know who he was. The guy who was running it, that's actually Anthony Cooney, who was the director behind the Leaf Blower Massacre and the Leaf Blower Massacre 2. So, yeah, he also played the guy who played the husband. Like I said, in that short film called Eyes of Deception. So his Anthony Cooney seems to act in some of Derek's films, and I think it's more to support him and to show some of his acting skills. And I don't think he actually has bad acting skills either. So.
Did you think this movie touched on any other Christmas stories to you?
You know, it did touch on a little bit of Christmas.
I was thinking Home Alone with the marbles and shooting the bad guys.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. I mean, you can't often forget something like that, you know.
Yeah. So, but he was a dead shot, right? And
yeah.
his marbles fired out with some force. We got to see those welts on that bad guy.
Yeah, we did, and those were some pretty nasty welts, weren't they?
Yeah, I'm surprised his face just didn't break as bad as those bumps were. They were pretty quick.
But
you know, and then go ahead, Dave.
Believe it or not, the guy who played that agent, he played it in another movie, which I actually thought that he didn't do a bad job on, which I believe Derek directed. It's called The Icing. And now originally, I have actually followed this director from Legless Corpse films because first he had The Icing up there for sale. So I went and bought it from Legless Corpse films, which, as you know, Chad Armstrong is now deceased. And it's been some time since he actually distributed. So
Yeah, I remember I funded one of his films that never made it to fruition.
yeah, I did too. I put money towards it myself. So I know the feeling, but you win some, you lose some. You can't always count on everyone following through on everything.
Yeah, he was late, but I mean, I can't say, definitely don't wish death on anybody.
No,
You know what I mean?
But in any case, I think we covered these to a really cool.
Well, there was another blowjob scene in this film.
Was there?
Oh yeah. Don't you remember the ice cream truck?
Oh yeah.
So you gotta love those blowjob scenes.
Yeah.
And in closing, right?
Yeah.
If it's your day to die, it is your day to die. Right?
Death by blowjob.
No, technically, yeah, because he got ran the fuck over by the ice cream truck. So yeah, I guess it was death by blowjob.
But it was definitely interesting, and I thought it was I actually would put this in the number one spot. To be honest, if I were to do a number system, but I'm not going to.
Yeah, I mean, I myself, I like the clown dies, killer claws. I would actually go with T for tentacles, and then the other ones I'd probably go with lazy werewolf, and then the other three are about the same for me.
Okay. See, I liked some of the other ones a little bit more. Some of the dramatic ones. I know you're not really into too much drama, so but I kind of liked the drama that was going on in Eyes of Deception, and for some reason, I liked the realism of what was going on in Hernandez.
Yeah.
And for those reasons, those two are up there too. So I think all of them have their good and their bad. And if you like it, you like it. You don't, you don't. So.
Yeah, I mean, they're shorts, right? So I don't know what sometimes there's a time restraint depending on what you're trying to put in. It has to be under 6 minutes. It has to be under a certain amount of time. And the killer claws, I can't remember if that one was 6 minutes or something like that.
Yeah.
But I liked it. The clown dies was actually longer, and I like that one as well. Some of the other ones, they might have had that 4-minute time restraint. So when you're trying to fit in a whole bunch of stuff into that time frame, it's not always the easiest thing to do.
No, it's not. But if you go about and do a lot of short films, it's a better way to craft your skill. And there are a lot of people who are into short films and whatnot. Which
the things are, the short films, you can't really drift off. You have to pay attention because it's so short. Some small piece you might miss, right? Mm-hmm. So it kind of helps because if there's a movie I'm watching and it's a longer film, I may drift off, check my phone, do whatever, go to the bathroom. But during the short films, I don't do anything but watch the short film.
Yeah, I mean they're straight and to the point sometimes too.
Yeah,
or sometimes they're just so. Okay, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah. I mean, I know you're a big fan of short films, and I like them as well because either you don't like it, you didn't waste that much time watching it,
Oh yeah. So, well, in any case, that's all the time we have for tonight, folks. But definitely, If you enjoyed the pair of tits and watching some commentary on some really cool shorts from Chicago by director Derek Braasch or Braasch. I'm not exactly sure how to say his name, but you can definitely check his films out. Some of his films are on Vimeo, some of them
Is
are
that
on YouTube.
is that his music in there also? That like death is that death metal in there or a heavy metal?
I'm not exactly sure. I'm sure it says in the credits. If you wanted to, you could check that out later, and it's possible that it might be able to be looked up somewhere. Where I mean, I can definitely tell earlier in his short films he didn't care about public domain songs.
Okay.
But I'm not sure because if you use films that are not within the public domain or use songs that are not within public domain, you can't really put your film out there to festivals or anything. You know that, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, you either got to have your own music or get some type of written permission.
Exactly.
But other people they say fuck it, right? I'm doing my own thing, and it's like an underground thing. So that obviously we know that's being done too.
Well, and you can get away with it, if you do it to a small level,
Right. Yeah.
But in any case, hopefully everyone who has listened to this, hopefully we gave a somewhat introspectual to these short films. I certainly enjoyed watching some of these shorts and look forward to watching some more. I'm expecting 2 more short films from this guy, so. I wanted to get on and talk about these with someone, and thank you for being available. Jesus.
Jesus is always around.
Well, in any case, folks, that's all the time we have for tonight. Stay tuned. I definitely have a lot more in store for you next week. I'm getting on with Septim Sim, and we're going to discuss our worst films that we could possibly imagine. So stay tuned.
Dude, where's my car?
That was a bad film, but I found it comical at times. Alrighty. Again, folks, my name is David Straggy. I've been your host for the remainder of the evening. Jesus apparently is going to still stay shy, but he will be back. And I'm also a small-time producer, so definitely check out some of my stuff that's coming out or whatnot. I've got stuff all over. You can check out Video Box on Vimeo for free, and I'm also behind Wrestle Massacre, which is coming out in 2018 sometime down the road. So definitely check that out. All right, folks. I'll let you know what I know as I know it, and I'll catch you later. Jesus, say goodnight.
Good night, Jesus.